Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Gordon's Pub. Tonight, I'm going to do a review, compare and contrast a couple bottles. I had planned on doing some reviews, when my channel had started, but I haven't done, I don't think, any. So tonight, I'm going to be diving into one of Jack Daniels and 13th Colony's most powerful and flavor-packed single barrels. They're both barrel proof rye releases, and they both happen to be hazmat, which means they're 140.0 or higher. Let me kind of start with what I want to cover, in this review. First and foremost, how these two compare to each other. Again, being single barrel proof ryes, and again, hazmat. Both of these are store picks. You can get hazmats that are not store picks, but these two, again, just happen to be store picks. I'm going to go over my impressions and, I guess, pour analysis. It seems like the word that everybody's using now, as well as the value as far as cost goes, availability, and maybe who this bottle might be best suited for. And again, finally, my honest ratings and thoughts. So let's get started. With the Jack Daniels, the mash bill is 70% corn. I'm sorry, it is 70% rye, 18% corn, and 12% malted barley. Jack Daniels distillery is in Lynchburg, Tennessee, which probably everybody knows. The age is believed to be 7 to 9 years. It's not age stated on the bottle, but you can go to the Jack Daniels website and submit a request to get some more information, about the particular barrel. And again, age is one of that. And again, 140.01 proof. Now, that's the 13th Colony. It's a 2-grain mash bill as opposed to the 3, rye, corn, malted barley. This is, the 13th Colony is 95% rye and 5% malted barley. Both the Jack Daniels and 13th Colony Single Barrel Proof Rye whiskeys bring a huge spice and deep sweetness, bold characters, straight from the barrel. Neither of these were diluted. It was just, like I said, straight out of the barrel. I've been savoring both of these for months. I've been sipping on this one for about a year. This one for about 3 or 4 months. So I've had several samples out of both. So, I feel like I can describe what I get on the nose, palate, and finish pretty well. So like I said, if you're a Jack Daniels or 13th Colony collector, you just want to get all their yearly releases or their special releases, then these are definitely, you don't want to miss them. But again, they're sold out long ago. Talk a little bit more about that at the end. So I guess first on the nose, just sitting here, I think even in the screen you can see that the Jack Daniels is lighter than the 13th Colony color wise. At least you can sitting here on the bar. Alright, so first let me start with the nose on Jack Daniels. Ooh, it's bold rice, spice, and caramel. Toasted oak. I would say hints of eucalyptus. I get more eucalyptus off Jack Daniels as opposed to mint, peppermint on some other ryes, but not all. No dill. There's a slight orange peel or zest. Typical light banana. Proof is shining through, boy. It's opening up my nose. Now for the 13th Colony. Ooh. I mean, I don't even know how to describe that as explosive rice spice. Clove, black peppercorn, cinnamon. You get a lot of complex sweetness off of this one. You know, like dark cherry and dried plums, toasted oak, vanilla bean, and maybe slight tobacco. And again, this is more, like I said, more mint, you know, not so much eucalyptus. Alright, let's try the Jack Daniels on the palate. Wow, this is not my first sip of the night, but wow, that's intense. Cinnamon, peppercorn, brown sugar, honey, baked fruit. You definitely get that oak char. I mean, you can tell by the color, you're bound to get that oak char in there, that flavor. Some touches of chocolate. I was going to talk about the finish, but I don't think it's there yet. I don't want to take another sip, because then it would be delaying it a little bit, but I want to take another sip. Finish is long, warm. Getting that Kentucky hug. I guess in this case it's Tennessee hug, since that's where Jack Daniels is at. Spicy, like I said, rich, lingering English toffee and oak. Wow, it's the gift that keeps on giving. I'm going to get my palate cleaned off, or I'm not going to be able to taste that 13th Colony. Alright. 13th Colony. Completely different animals, even though both single barrel proof ryes, cask strength. What a difference. I mean, similar in proof, similar in age. Again, different mash bill. 95% rye. I mean, like massive caramel and toffee surges. The very front of the palate. Followed by that, again, spicy rye heat, but again, 140 proof. Again, spicy rye heat, just like the Jack Daniels. Cinnamon red hots, you know, not cinnamon sticks. Black pepper and nutmeg. You know, like a dessert notes, like a molasses, burnt sugar, like that burnt sugar on Pop-Tarts or something. Fruity, like a cherry cola, not like a cherry cordial, or more like I said, a cola cherry note. Baked apple, almost like a baked apple pie. Maybe that burnt sugar is like the sugar that your mom, grandma, wife sprinkled on top of an apple pie before they bake it in the oven. A little bit of fig. I just had some figs recently, so for some reason that note kind of stands out for me. Big barrel influence, just like the Jack Daniels. Toasted oak, char, cocoa, slight leather as opposed to tobacco on the Jack Daniels. Intense. Both of these are intense, you know, and balanced. Both drink smoother than their proof suggests. The finish on this 13th Colony is long, warm. I watched a rye review and they said legendary. So I'm going to say for the 13th Colony, it's like it's legendary. The lingering caramel and oak, rye spice. I got some heat back here, some sweet heat, not bitter. A little bit of drying oak like the Jack Daniels. Pepper kind of goes on for a minute here. I better stop. Yeah, like I said, cocoa, leather, smooth. The finish with the lingering caramel rye spice, heat. Man, the finish is just now starting to fade. Just keeps coming back, you know, like I said, just like the Jack Daniels. So to sum up the Jack Daniels Hazmat Rye, it delivers dense, high impact, loaded with big rye, spice, deep caramel sweetness, barrel richness, you know, the toast, the char, the oak. And despite its extreme proof, it stays drinkable, and that's what I'm doing. Layers of cinnamon, dark sugar, toasted oak, herbal rye character, bold, long-lasting, unapologetic. That's the way people use some of these words. This kind of hazmat is something that you have to drink slow. It'll end your night pretty quick if you don't. If you drink too much of this. But that Jack Daniels dessert leaning backbone beneath that heat that's noticeably there. Real quick, back to the summation of the 13th Colony. Gosh, it's just different, man. This is a powerhouse. Thick, rich, intensely flavorful. Dessert forward profile, similar to the Jack Daniels. Again, as I was saying earlier, like molten caramel, dark sugars, deep oak. All wrapped in that wave of rice spice that just has my mouth just kind of lit up right now. But it's not sharp, bitter. Like I said, both had a touch of drying at the end of the palate, but it kind of went away. Maybe it went away when I took another sip. Yeah, again, this bottle is earning its reputation as one of the most coveted 13th Colony ryes. Everybody, I've seen this on secondary for $500. I think I paid about 110. I had seen them from 100 to 120, maybe. But I've seen them on secondary for 500. People begging, you know, say, I'll give you $100 for a 2-ounce sample, for example. Again, the Jack Daniels, you can get that from 60 to 90 from a non-store pick, starting at 60, 65 if you can have a friend that can pick it up at the Class 6 store on base, for example. But a lot of these barrel picks, they'll go up to 100, you know, $100. So in conclusion, despite the high proof on both, the nose on both is surprisingly layered. Again, as I said earlier, the 13th Colony is darker than the Jack Daniels. Maybe it's just because of this damn shelf-stealing big fat bottle. Maybe if it was standing taller like the Jack Daniels, the color might look a little bit better, but I see a color difference in the glasses. Jack Daniels, 13th Colony. I mean, I get ethanol a little bit on both of them, but again, at 140 proof, man, it sure opens your nose. Again, it's a one sip. I won't fill these back up again, after I finish this review. And although I love the Jack Daniels, I mean, I have more Jack Daniels than I have 13th Colony, but it's pretty close. Tonight, the night's gonna go to the 13th Colony. There's the age and the proof. Again, the Jack Daniels, it's harder to see these labels. The gold on green, or the green on gold on green. It's pretty hard to see it. But again, this is from the Denver firefighters that picked this barrel. So again, that was my first review. I don't want to keep doing reviews of that have thousands of reviews out on the same bottle, for example. But if you enjoy whiskey reviews, discussions on barrel picks, creation of tater stickers. I've talked about some tater stickers in some of my other videos. If you would, please hit the like and subscribe. I would sure appreciate it. And also, turn on notifications so you don't miss the next pour down here in Gordon's Pub. You guys have a good night.